last weekend, there was a lot of queries about the possible lack of testing in Riyadh, in a show that was run by the Mohegan tribe and in Texas with Paul and Tyson. Are you disappointed that more people aren't following the WBC's lead with the clean boxing program?
You know, boxing is a violent sport. It's a dangerous sport, contact sport. It is not a game where you make distance or speed or goals. If you cheat and if you have doping in boxing, you can hurt your opponent. So we take drug testing with high priority and high importance. That's the WBC is the first organization which introduced mandatory drug testing back in 75. And we have the clean boxing program, which has been working since 2015. We have spent a fortune and we are passionate about drug testing. We only wish more organizations, more commissions, more promoters would put emphasis in drug testing. I am not aware of these past weekends matters at this time. I don't know if there was drug testing in Dallas or not. I will inquire, of course, but the reality is that it is a top priority for the WBC. I know many promoters have it as a top priority. I have seen promoters that they themselves contract fights to be mandatorily tested out of competition randomly. And that is the key because we have to protect our kids, even though I am very certain that there are very few fighters who do something knowingly to take advantage that could hurt their opponent. So I think it's a matter that has to be open, has to be completely continuously discussed about, because we should not only talk about drug testing every once in a while, but continuously. And I encourage, I believe the British Boxing Board of Control does have drug testing, randomly some sort of program for their fighters in the UK, which is great. I wish more commissions, more promoters, more organizations would put the money into drug testing as well.
Do you think people are taking it seriously enough, Mauricio?
Well, I know a lot of fighters that take it seriously. I know fighters that demand to be tested and demand their opponents to be tested. As I said, I know promoters that contract the fights and they contract VADA and they contract for that specific event to have drug testing thoroughly. Um, it is very easy to take drug testing or doping and try to be like a hero. Whenever there's a positive, you have to look into deep. Every case is different. There has been clear contamination of products. There has been clear ignorance and good faith by people. And it has been mostly proven that it is my personal perception that very few fighters would take advantage and cheat and hurt their opponent.
There was an excellent WBC title fight on Saturday night in the welterweight division with Barrios and Ramos. But I saw that Conor Benn is your number two. We haven't seen him in a good fight for almost 2 years now, with the issues that he's had outside of the ring. How has he come to have such a high ranking with you at the moment?
Well, first, what a great fight. Barrios Ramos, first 2 rounds, I thought, well, unfortunately, this is going to be not of the level of the WBC fight. I thought it was going to end easily. And then Ramos came back and made it so great, so dramatic. Conor Benn, undoubtedly, is a sensational fighter. Conor Benn went through the WBC clean boxing program. year and a half, 2 years ago. I'm not sure of the calendar. And we concluded our process, and he was found not guilty. He has suffered from that situation and a licensing problem. And we are here to abide and to stand by our fighters and try to make justice. I cannot go against your perception of level of competition in recent time. That's a key for rankings. I believe the WBC Ratings Committee has taken into consideration the level where Conor Benn had competed, the ranking he had in the past, and the fact that he was a victim or of a situation which now, 2 years later, he has been cleared for. So I would say Conor Benn will prove inside the ring whenever he gets into the ring next. And now that he's free to go in, I'm sure the ratings committee will be absolutely looking into how he's going to fight and the level of opposition.
Now, I just want to bring you back briefly to the Conor Benn situation that a couple of my colleagues have already talked about. His suspension's been lifted by the National Anti-Doping Panel a couple of weeks ago. The British Boxing Board of Control and UK Anti-Doping, who imposed the suspension, have still got around a week left in which to appeal if they decide to do so. If Conor Benn wants to fight in the UK on a board show or even in Riyadh season, because the BBBFC are working on those shows now as well, he still requires board approval. If the board remain in their stance of not wanting Conor Benn to fight on their shows, does that affect your thinking of the WBC's position?
Well, it would be a speculation because it is not something that is right there on the table right now. Throughout this time, Conor Benn was not involved in a WBC sanctioned fight. The WBC did keep him ranked, but he did not compete for the WBC. That is where we get involved. So we will see what happens if we tried to obtain the papers from UKAD and from other instances to understand the situation, because the WBC had its own process. UKAD asked the WBC for our position, our papers, and we said, absolutely, let's share it. Send us what you have, we'll send you what we have. They never responded back. We insisted, never responded back. So we did our work, and we do not appreciate the hiding or non-transparency that we experienced in that specific process. So we are not going to punish a fighter that is not clearly having a situation. Doping unfortunately, can carry on for 2-3 years in what we've seen in processes outside of the WBC clean boxing program. And that is killing the career of a fighter who has limited time in the ring.